it's Rachel from Just Getting Things Done, and I saw this question about how to make mom friends during the pandemic, and I really wanted to make a video about that and answer that because I see a lot of these posts happening on Facebook, and I want to talk about doing it in person, but also because I'm someone who has always had the story and probably also been told by my family that I'm shy, I'm not good at small talk. My family is very direct and to the point. I was told in high school that I was intimidating. And also, I moved from my hometown to a whole new state when I went to high school. So I went to a K-8 school and then moved to a really big high school. Then after high school, I went to college. Then from college, I moved abroad, and I never really stayed in contact with the friends that I had made. So I came back to the States and I didn't have a friend group. And I feel like as an adult, I never had that group of, not I feel like, as an adult, I never really had that group of friends that, we would go on girl weekends or any of that stuff. And then 2 years ago, I moved back to my hometown area, and it was at a time when I was finally starting to make a pretty good friend group. And then I moved here, and it felt kind of hard to start over and make friends again. But what I've realized is that I'm actually pretty good at making friends. And so that's why I wanted to talk about how do you make mom friends during a pandemic, because I've made some good mom friends during this pandemic. And the first thing that I want to say about that is that it takes some effort. One of the places that I make friends at is preschool drop-off and pickup and school pickup. And lots of times, everyone's just standing around, kind of ignoring each other, looking at their phones, looking to see if the kids are coming. And I can't always think of something to say, but when I can think of something to say, lots of times I'll even just ask, which one is your kiddo? And then we can start talking from there. And if we have things in common or our kids have things in common, maybe I will ask for their phone number. So that's one of the first ways that I do that. And like I said, I come from a family that thinks that we don't know how to make small talk, but I can almost always come up with some kind of question to start a conversation going. And the truth is that often I'm one of the only people talking. Like, a lot of other people just do not make this effort. So that little bit of effort goes a long way in getting conversations going and talking to people. Then the other way that I've really made friends is just, again, making the effort. So when I see people walking down the street in front of my house, we have windows that look out the front, and we got rid of all of our curtains down there. When I see them walking out front, I go outside and introduce myself to them and say hi to them. Lots of times my kids will come with me. If my 3-year-old sees a dog, then she wants to run out and say hi to the dog. And that's an easy excuse to get started talking to someone. Unfortunately, lots of the dogs in our neighborhood do not like little kids, so that doesn't always work out well for her. But when I make that effort to get out of my house and talk to people, then I make friends. And going back to this whole thing of it taking effort, I think that I used to always think just like, I'm not good at making friends, and that they should just magically appear in my life without me making any effort. But even once you meet them, once you exchange phone numbers, then you still have to, like, when you're thinking about them, actually text them or call them or invite them to things. Obviously, this is way harder during a pandemic, especially now that it's winter. Like, I live somewhere where it's cold. We still do some things outside, but not a ton. We've gone sledding outside with friends. One of the friends that I met by just going outside and saying hi, we went over to their house and went sledding. So that's something that we still did outside. And, we have friends that we met during the pandemic that were part of our bubble. So, of course, I want people to still be safe. And there aren't too many opportunities to go. I mean, here the mall even is open. So I guess you could go to the mall and meet people at a store. You just have to take that initiative to start talking to them. I've met friends at the mall. So I just really wanted to encourage you that even if you think you're awkward or you think you're not good at making friends, you can just put forth that little bit of effort and you can still make friends. And then another thing I wanted to remember to tell you was I have a friend named Camille Virginia, and she wrote a book. It's about offline dating. But I read this book because I was part of the launch team, and one of the things that really stuck with me was how, like, when you think you're awkward and you don't want to tell jokes because you might not get like the good response, or people might be like, oh, I don't even know what you're talking about, that's totally fine, because it's a really good way for you to find your people. Like, your people will understand your jokes. Your people will get what you're talking about, will think you're funny or whatever. So you don't need to hold back on your personality or be worried about making, the wrong impression or something like that, because the people that you're destined to be friends with, or the people that you want to be friends with, are the ones that will understand and that will like you because you're you. And then I think the best friendships are the ones where both of you put forth effort. So sometimes you can be in a friendship where maybe it's only the other person texts you or invites you to things, or maybe only you do that. And one of the things I've really loved about the friendships that I've made during this pandemic is that they go both ways. Our friends will walk down to our house, we'll walk down to their house, they'll text us. Like, it's not a situation where I have to put forth all of the effort to actually see each other. So I'm just here to tell you, you can make mom friends during the pandemic. And honestly, I don't really think it's that much different than when we're not in a pandemic. You just have to take these extra precautions of either seeing each other outside or figuring out what they're doing and who they're seeing and how careful they're being, and make your own judgments based on that. But that's kind of what we have to do with everyone these days. So here's to making some safe, happy, long-lasting friendships.